start using these 4 power features and see how your productivity with Claude Code is going to skyrocket. This is going to be a very short video, guys, in which I'm going to share with you a few tricks that I've been using lately when it comes to using Claude Code. Some of them are more meaningful, some of them are not necessarily as meaningful, but they are really help me organize my workflows, and I think that there are like quick wins that anyone using Claude Code should definitely implement. Let's start with the easiest one, and then at the end I will share which like the most impactful one. So getting started, session management, never lose context again. So all of you who have been using Claude Code know how frustrating it is when you start a conversation with the agent and then you need to go somewhere, or you close the window, you close the conversation, and then you kind of feel like you need to refeed the context. So some of you know that you can just resume to a reset conversation. Now, the problem with this is when you have many reset conversations, you don't necessarily know which conversation you need to go back to, especially if it's been a while since you worked on that project. So what you can do is that you can rename conversations, and it's very similar to using new branches in your GitHub repository. So all you have to do, you come here, you write rename, and then you give it a name. YouTube video. Let's assume this is the new name. This is the conversation of this name. And then this session was renamed. Now let's assume that I close the window and I reopen Claude Code and I want to come back to this conversation. What I can do, I hit the resume, and then I have different options. One of them, I'm going to click the resume. It shows me all the conversations, and I'm just going to select the YouTube video. I can search by different file, different conversation names. In this specific folder, as you can see, I don't have many other names because it's just like a root folder. It's not a project that I maintained well. But just to show you the idea, very easily you can come here and resume to this conversation. So this is the first trick, very valuable. As I said, use the command resume. The pro tip is always name the sessions as you get started. Like I said, it's as if you're starting a new branch in GitHub. You want to have a descriptive name. Next one is using ultrathink mode, which is basically tells Claude Code that you want to use as many tokens as possible to solve this task. So let's assume I want to write Claude. So let's assume that I would like you to ask me questions about a to-do list app. I mean, I'm planning to create a to-do list app and I need you to ask me clarifying questions. So this would be like a very simple, shallow prompt, and it's going to ask questions based on this. But what I can do, assuming that I want more resources, that I want Claude to really think this through, I can just add the ultrathink tab. So let me open another. And what you have to do, just write ultrathink, and you see it's going to be immediately colored. And then you're going to paste this. And whenever you do ultrathink, it's as if you notify Anthropic that you want as many tokens as possible to analyze this this task. Now let's see what is the difference that it's going to generate. This is these are the primary questions. I'll be happy to help you. Platform technology, core features, data and users, scope and goals. And let's see if it's going to write something more comprehensive here. So as you can see, not significantly more comprehensive, but this is due to the fact that it was just the beginning of the conversation. Usually when you use ultrathink, I use it when I'm in the middle of the conversation and I suddenly have more of like a strategical plan or strategical question or a dilemma, and then I use ultrathink, and for me, it yields better results. So I highly recommend checking this out as well. Next tip is self-reinforcement. So this is basically a custom command that I created, which is called reinforce. Basically, it's a code quality workflow that spawns an adversarial reviewer agent to tear apart your code. So why is it important? Because one perspective, one agent might miss bug, especially if it's the same agent that wrote this. So here, multiple adversarial agents, they kind of dissect the code, they find 3+ issues, they fix the issues, then they verify, and then they iterate. And at the end, the custom command actually splits which files were reviewed, the issues that were found, the issues that were fixed, and it really improves the code. Let me show you an example. And I just asked Claude to write a custom command for me that does this. You can basically screenshot this and ask the same, and it will create. And let me show you an example of a self-correction. Let me see if I have something here. I used to have, it's not this one. We can just do this right here. So reinforce, let's take this. Let's take a piece of code. Just a second. Okay. So this is the summary. This is exactly what I wanted to show you. This is the summary of the reinforcement. So what was the issue? Was the severity and the fix that was applied. So basically all I did, I had code and then I asked it to use the reinforce. I just did reinforce, which is a self-reinforcing review and fix cycle until code passes. Basically it spins up a new agent, and the agent is going to start checking everything, and then it kind of proposes how to fix, and it actually fixes based on the feedback. So this is the reinforce custom command, which I highly recommend. I also did something similar for copy. So let's assume that I'm automating LinkedIn copy. So initially I liked it, but I wanted the bot or Claude Code to kind of tighten up the hooks. So I created a similar custom command, which is reinforce code. And basically what it does, it kind of tests the hooks again and proposes 3 alternatives for the hooks. Then it chooses which hook resonates the most, and it rewrites the post with the new hook. So it's an iterative process. I want to keep it short, so I'm not going to show you an example, but the main idea is that you guys can go to Claude Code and ask it to create custom command for you, which has this reinforcement loop in it, and it's going to build something for you, and it is very valuable. I also have something that is called self-correct, which basically is more like a lightweight custom command that uses the same agent just to validate or take a look at what it did and see if anything is missing. It's more like having a canned response instead of telling it, can you take a look at the custom code, the recent code that you did, and try to fix it, blah, blah, blah. So I just hit the self-correct, and it automatically does the self-correction process. So it finds the issues, etc. Now, I also built a custom skill. And a custom skill for iterating and adjusting the code is somewhat similar in terms of the purpose, but it's different in the mechanism from the custom commands. So commands, they work on demand. They have an explicit trigger, like we said, reinforce, and they run once and then they are done, and they execute as a workflow. So an example, review this code now. The pros of using the command is you have precise control, and it can be used when needed, while on the other hand, you must remember to invoke it. In opposing to commands, when you use a certain skill, it is activated on start, and it's kind of persistent, and it changes the ongoing behavior. It's kind of similar to saying work in careful mode. Let me see. Now, the self-reinforcement skills that I built is basically proactive quality mode that never sleeps. So what I did, I asked Claude to generate a reinforcement loop, a skill that has like a reinforcement capability to optimize the code. And basically what it does, it immediately self-reviews after writing every code block. It auto-spawns adversarial reviewers for features. It re-verifies the code matching, does it match the requirements, and it also obviously writes like a report, etc. Now, let me see if I had this table just showing the differences. It's very easy to visually see the differences. So we have the self-reinforcement skill. We have the self-correct, which I told you is like a very short fixes. Then we have the reinforce, which is kind of more of an iterative workflow, a custom command. And we have something completely separated, which is a custom command for generating better copy, just to give you this idea of the fact that you can always iterate and reinforce stuff, even if it's not necessarily only code. Now here are the differences. So the duration, how are they being triggered, do you get a report, etc. Do you spin different sub-agents, etc. And these are all things that are just custom for my setup, but you guys can adjust in any ways that you would like. But each one has a different, different mechanism, and it should be used in different occasions. Now, when to use each obviously depends on how you structure this, but in my case, I'm going to use commands when I need to review existing code on demand. I want to explicitly have explicit control over when I'm going to do the review. When I want quick one-off quality checks, or when I'm reviewing someone else's code. I'm going to use the skill when I'm building a critical feature from scratch and I want to use more tokens and do it more carefully, or when I want quality gates that are being automatically set, or when I have longer coding sessions, which I don't often use the skill for, or when I have a tendency to forget, which I don't have neither. So it's mostly when I build critical features from scratch. You can use both, of course, alternating or in the same loop. I don't think it's crucial. Obviously, it depends again on how you build this. So I guess that's pretty much it. So quick summary. Whenever you start a conversation, make sure to rename it so you never lose context. Use ultra thinking when you want to use more tokens to solve harder problems, especially during the conversation. Build your own reinforcement loops with custom command, which allows you to review your code on demand, and build self-reinforcement skills, which allow you to have like a session which is more cautious or more accurate. Summarize: commands or events you trigger, skills or states that you enable, and you need to use both strategically. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I felt it wasn't so accurate in terms of my presentation, but the ideas do hold, and this is why I'm going to launch this anyway. If you felt it was interesting or have any feedback, obviously leave your comments below. If you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to subscribe. Leave a like, because I usually analyze like the ratio of video views to likes, and based on this I kind of get signals regarding how good the video was. Yes, that's it. Until next time, keep on automating.